Al Ewing and one Frigeri deal with space politics as Starlord and Nova attend the Hellfire Gala, but Richard's past problems with Magneto boil over, leading to a heated confrontation that could break relations between the X-Men and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Al Ewing combines a few of his currently running books for more Last Annihilation setup as the Guardians meet with Sword and the mutants of Krakoa for the Hellfire Gala. I thoroughly enjoyed Ewing's callbacks to Magneto's villainous past and to an issue that's over 40 years old to help sell Richard's honestly pretty reasonable accusations against Eric. Eric has done some pretty vile stuff in the past, so I can completely understand why Richard wants to go after him and try and arrest him for his crimes. Ewing also plays into the more sinister nature of Krakoa as we find that Nova really can't do shit to Eric thanks to the multiple deals Sword and the mutants of Krakoa have had with alien worlds, essentially buying their way out of any trouble with get out of jail free cards. I do like that Eric and Richard do end up patching things up in the issue, and it's nice to see Eric own up to his past and then have Richard also listen to him and realise he probably came at this a bit wrong. The big reveal of the issue comes with Ego, whose egg soon hatches, not to reveal Annihilus like I originally thought, but Dormammu. Something I really didn't expect, and I love the red herring with the insect egg, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how different Last Annihilation is now. One Frigeri again makes the book look just as beautiful as the writing is, focusing more this time on character interactions, save for one awesome fast-paced battle in the middle of the issue which, while short, was really well done and I couldn't help but feel was kind of inspired by anime battles. Guardians of the Galaxy issue 15 finished up the book's build up to Last Annihilation in a really awesome way, combining a few of Ewing's books together for a fantastic mutant-filled storyline as well as leaving on one hell of a cliffhanger. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. Guardians of the Galaxy issue 15 finds a massive armada positioned around Ego, who has now changed fully into a black insect-like egg. The Guardians find in the 10 days since he transformed, there has been no change in Ego's state. Rocket isn't happy with all the Gawkers, but Gamora says that that's the Rimworlds for him. Quasar doesn't know what that is, so Rocket explains it's the Galactic Rim Collective, and now after the Annihilation War, a group of worlds on the Rim decided to get together and become stronger in trading and common law. Hercules thinks that sounds like the European Union, but Rocket knows it's nothing like that at all, since why has everything got to be an Earth thing with him? Groot thinks that he's cranky, but Rocket says it's planetary bias is what it is. Rocket waves off his old friend, saying it's a collective and they don't have a central monarchy, instead they have 50, all who want to send their own guys, and it makes for a nice spread of data, or it would if they found anything that could be inside the egg. Gamora thinks that it's more civilians to babysit if it hatches, but Rocket says that they aren't ready since no ordnance has been able to break through the egg yet, so nothing will crack the shell and that they really need their big guns. Gamora says that they can't choose the battle and Moondragon is busy dealing with Korvac with Hellcat and Iron Man and the others are on a diplomatic duty. But Mantis is coming tomorrow. Drax laughs, saying the thought of Nova and Starlord playing diplomat is funny. On the Somerville, Nova says he cannot believe that Peter let Dr. Doom join the Guardians, since he's been a world-class supervillain since Richard was a kid, and he's a murderer and a dictator. Peter reminds him that Super Skrull was that as well, but Nova says he's got his own problems with Klurt. But Hulkling keeps him on a tight leash, but Doom won't bow to anyone but himself, and he cannot be controlled. Peter says that they couldn't put him in space jail since he would easily have escaped, or maybe Richard preferred executing him in Rocket's body. Nova hoped that Peter had trusted him with this stuff instead of blurting it out like Peter's son, wondering when they're going to talk about that. Peter doesn't think that has anything to do with this, but Richard says that Peter told him that he doesn't remember what happened in that other place and the family he had there, but it's pretty obvious that he can't walk it off and he needs to open up about it. Peter wonders about what, since he was only gone for a few months, but in Mornius that was 2 lifetimes, and the memory loss is all that allows him to function, and by now his son would be grown up and ageless on adventures of his own, but he won't be remembered by him. Nova asks the boy's name, fishing to see if Peter named the boy after him, but Peter says the boy's name was Rocket. He says that while they are clearing the air, he just doesn't want to bring Doom for the laughs, because ever since he came back, he's been more aware of everything and Doom was telling the truth. Something definitely is coming. Soon they arrive arrive at their destination, Sword Station 1. Peter asks Nova his thoughts about the Hellfire Gala they are heading for, but Richard says that they just got the same invite everyone else did, and normally he would make an excuse since he's not good at formal occasions. But Krakoa has been making moves, having ended the Snark War and saved the Shi'ar throne, and they have even managed to have someone control the Brood. Peter reminds him that they are good things, but Richard says that he's just itchy, asking if Peter's sister told him anything, since he's surprised the Empress would allow the black sheep of the family representing Spartax. Peter says that the royal astrologers seem to favour him these days, and it's an opportunity to see some old friends, hearing that Kitty Pryde is now a pirate these days. Nova wonders if Kl'rt will be there with him, Peter, Nova and Doom, but he knows there is bad blood between Krakoa and the Kree Skrull royal family, and Kl'rt doesn't feel like making the trip. As they disembark, Nova thinks not having Super Skrull there is probably for the best, since he doesn't get along with bad guys. The duo, however, are met by Abigail Brand and Magneto, who welcomes them to the station. Brand introduces Magneto as the Quiet Council liaison, hoping that they are staying for the gala. Magneto offers Richard his hand to shake, but the man refuses it, saying that he's done shaking hands with supervillains, and Magneto is now going down. Magneto says that he's been granted amnesty by many of Earth's nations, but Nova says he answers to a higher authority, wondering if he remembers two beings named Mr. 1 and Mr. 2, a single mind sharing two bodies. Eric remembers finding them in a newspaper advert, knowing that they could help him access a spacecraft he had gotten his hands on, but events escaped his control and the beings ended up dead. He wonders how that's any of Nova's business, so the hero says that the beings weren't mutants, and it's why his usual methods didn't work. Richard reveals that they were Shi'ar Sub-Guardians, a prototype of the War Star unit, and they ended up transmitting data on their deaths as it happened, data which Nova is now accessing, and he can act on it, knowing Magneto can escape his sins on Earth, but space is Nova's territory. Peter tries to stop Nova, but Richard says that he's had enough. Since Doom gets away with it, Annihilus does as well, and now Magneto, so he has had enough. Magneto agrees, waving off Brand since Nova's pretext is flimsy and his ilk thinks that they are all they ever need, but they are wrong. He flings one of their spaceships at them, but Brand tells Eric to stand down since they can settle this on the holodeck, not caring who started it, but they are not having a superpowered brawl in the hangar. She reminds him that the ships Magneto is flinging are theirs, but Magneto doesn't care since Homo superiors were born to fly and they don't need help. Nova cuts the car in half as Magneto grabs two more, smashing them into Nova. Brand orders a security team to the hangar with stasis rifles as she tells Peter to help, but he wonders with who since he tried to talk Richard down and Magneto hit him with a dropship, and he thinks that Brand wants him to take a side in this. Richard frees himself, wanting to tell Magneto all about the Nova Force and how it comes with a lot of different flavors, including electromagnetic energy, which means he can cancel out Magneto's powers. Richard smashes Magneto across the face, knocking his helmet free. Magneto calls Richard a fool for fighting the Master of Magnetism with magnetism, but Brand cuts him off, telling him that this isn't Magneto's ground, it's her station, and if they think that she can't throw them both out into space, then they don't know her at all. Nova says that Magneto is a wanted man, but Brand knows not with the Shi'ar, since the Shi'ar won't take sides in a battle where the Sub-Guardian died in the line of duty a dozen years ago against a proven ally. She says Eric was right and he just wanted an excuse, and she doesn't know what he has to prove to himself, but he had his go, and if either of them do anything else, they will be floating outside in a stasis bubble. Richard sarcastically thanks Peter for the help, but the man says he's welcome for not making a bad situation worse, telling his friend that he'll see him in the Green Lagoon, if they let him in of course. After a moment, Richard tells Magneto that he was an ass and he doesn't need Eric to start on him. Magneto says he's a little ashamed of himself as well since he shouldn't have risen to the bait, but he wants Richard to tell him something, asking if Starlord started the Guardians as a paramilitary unit. Nova knows that most Earthers don't even know that they exist, but Eric says that now the team seems to be more like the Avengers in space, something Richard knows he doesn't like, but it's cost effective and works at a small scale. He knows the galaxy cannot afford another Nova Corps right now and it can't afford to lose another. Magneto realizes it's about budget, saying once they were swashbucklers and were sure in their powers and they used them to right vast wrongs and thought they knew the answers, but then the world offered harder questions and they answered them back and learned and evolved, and sometimes that meant compromise. Eric tells the men that what they fought for is within reach, but the road to it has left scars and pulled them into weaker moments. Nova knows it makes sense, and maybe he's trying to turn back the clock to when it hurt less. He knows Eric talks about compromise, remembering how Annihilus saved his life after he killed the being, and now Super Skrull runs his ops room, and now Dr. Doom is on their team, and it all makes him feel out of his control, and seeing Eric brought it all to a head. Eric says that he saw an enemy and Richard saw his, but he wants to know why he allied with Victor, since he's far from someone who he would trust. Nova doesn't know, but apparently he knows something is coming soon. Eric hopes that he's wrong, since change is coming, and that is for certain, and they will see for themselves at the gala, but what worries Magneto is what the change brings with it. 2 days later, the Guardians talk about the Mysterium, the new metal the mutants have offered to the galaxy, and maybe Earthers have finally done something right this time. Peter, however, was thinking about the other news, like planet Araco being revealed, but Gamora says the people can handle any complications since they have their own problems, as the scanned ships have just reported an energy fluctuation from the Ego egg. Mantis suddenly contacts the team, saying that they are on the far side of Ego and have activity since Ego is hatching. A voice says that Ego is gone, however, and his puny shell is his, a living furnace to house his terrible flame. The planet cracks open violently as the voice says that they are the Great Enigma and the Eater of Souls and the Dread Lord of the Secret Fire, as out of the planet spawns Dormammu, Lord of the Dark Dimension.